everybody! This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. What a time out in Bristol, baby! Splash of Gas had boots on the ground in Bristol, Tennessee to cover the whole weekend of racing. My first time out there, it was fantastic. More on that on Discussions with Dave. We start you right off with some of our on-track audio.
Truck Series just had their practice. Chase Briscoe was fastest. Qualifying is just about to get underway. Super cool to be in the pits. It's really crazy how high banked these turns are. Can't wait for the rest of the action tonight. We'll keep you posted. Dawson Sutton made contact with the wall in practice. His team is making repairs. Daniel Suarez's truck is also behind the wall. They're making adjustments too. Frankie Muniz in the 33 is the first to qualify.
More from Bristol shortly. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, a.k.a. Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek. And of course, those on-track updates. Put a lot of content from Bristol. Please check that out. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. More audio from Bristol featuring our garage chats with Stewart Friesen and Grant Enfinger. Enjoy! Qualifying is wrapped up and is won by Caden Honeycutt, followed by Christian Eckes, making up the front row. They'll take us to green. Can't wait. David Weichert here in Bristol. Stewart Friesen just qualified. How'd you feeling after the practice and the qualifying?
Not bad. I felt like we made our truck quite a bit better in practice, and then was just a little too free off qualifying to have enough forward drive to make a little bit more speed. But not bad. Long race, and proud of the Halmar team as always, and we'll go make 250 of them and hopefully have a shot at it.
Gotcha. Just as you said, a little long 250 laps. How do you stay focused during these long races here?
That's the tricky part, right? Just try to lock in and hit our marks and be smart in traffic and keep the nose clean and have something to race them at the end.
Great to see you back at the track. Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
David Weichert with Grant Enfinger just at qualifying and practice. How you feeling tonight, man?
We're struggling right now. Honestly, just struggling with a little bit of just corner exit balance there. So hopefully we can keep working on it and make her better. But good adjustments from the end of practice to qualifying, but definitely need some more.
Got it. Gonna make some more adjustments during the 250 laps, it sounds like?
Yeah. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep working on it.
Heck yeah. Best of luck. Thanks, Grant. Appreciate your time. Just saw Nick Sanchez talking to some of the management from Front Row Motorsports. What does that mean? As we've been mentioning on the episodes, been following that story after they pulled AM Racing, pulled out of Rockingham with Nick Sanchez. Thought it was pretty neat to see that in pit road. Great to talk to Stewart and Grant. Really cool to see Nick Sanchez talking to some of the upper management in Front Row Motorsports. Where does Sanchez land next? Now for the Truck Series recap. Truck drivers would be roaring to go Friday night in the Coliseum. Solid crowd for a truck race as well. Great to be in truly Thunder Valley. After qualifying, Caden Honeycutt would be on the pole, followed by Christian Eckes, making up the front row. Caden leads at first, but a few laps in, Eckes takes control. First yellow on lap 16 for Andres Perez de Laura spin. Eckes and Honeycutt again restart. Eckes leads again with Lane Riggs up to second. Riggs would get close to Eckes when the two had to navigate lap traffic, but Christian Eckes prevails and wins stage 1. The pair of Eckes and Riggs restart for the middle stage. Eckes clears for the lead with Riggs behind him, and Ben Rhodes up to third. Late in stage 2, Frankie Muniz and Tyler Reif, Timmy Hill all get tangled up. Some stay out, most pit. Ben Rhodes and Justin Haley restart with 3 laps to go in the stage. Rhodes clears and wins stage 2. Kyle Busch and Corey Heim restart for the third and final stage. After 3 yellows, Christian Eckes and Corey Heim restart with 71 to go. Heim pulls out to the lead. A lap later, the two make contact, sending Corey Heim into the wall, rear end first. This would take Corey Day out of the dash for cash and the running to win $500,000 in total. More on that later in the show. Red flag comes out for the track cleanup. Final restart occurs with 26 laps to go. Christopher Bell and Eckes. Bell clears and leads. 10 to go. Bell has nearly a full second lead on Chandler Smith, now in second. The rest of the race stays green, and Christopher Bell is victorious in the trucks in Thunder Valley. Now for our Day 2 audio from Bristol. Here in the infield for Day 2, and the truck race was great last night. O'Reilly Series and Cup Series will have their practice and qualifying, then O'Reilly will race later tonight. Just got to the pits. We'll keep you updated. Sitting on the pit wall right here, just saw the track crew lay down the PJ1 on the inside strip. Very neat. David Weigert with Lavar Scott here. Just coming off I believe it was your best O'Reilly finish recently. How you feeling in Bristol, man?
Feeling good. I'm excited. This is another track where hopefully we can move around and the top group comes in a little bit once you get some rubber laid down up there. So I love tracks that can move around and make speed in different areas. This is one of them, and I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Saw the trucks really hauling it last night. They're laying down the PJ1. How do you think the different grooves are going to handle for you?
Hopefully really good. I would say we've definitely been a team that when go to tracks that you got to move around and find speed, we've been ones that can do that and make speed. So I'm excited for that, and Bristol is so iconic, right? It's Bristol, so it should be a good day.
What are your goals for tonight?
I definitely, if we can get another top 15, that would be amazing. That would be so good to have 2 in a row and kind of build this momentum and keep it going from. We had a struggle to the start of the year. Nothing really on us, just in bad situations where cars wrecking, and we're always in the middle of it. But if we can get out of this stretch and get some good clean finishes, hopefully we can set ourselves up really good for the rest of the year.
Sounds great. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
again, man. Appreciate you. Now for the O'Reilly Series recap. O'Reilly Series would have their race Saturday night, ready to put a show on for the fans. William Sawalich, after winning in Rockingham, will win the pole. Him and Sheldon Creed would bring the pack to green. 29 laps in, Kyle Larson passes Sawalich for the lead. After yellow on lap 63 for Austin Green, the leaders pit, but some stay out. Ryan Sieg and Jeremy Clements restart, but 8 laps later, Kyle Larson takes over the top spot again. The rest of the stage stays green, and Kyle Larson wins stage 1. Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier restart for the middle stage. After a quick yellow, Larson restarts and takes control of the front spot. Kyle Larson wins stage 2 with Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier behind him. Larson and Connor Zilich would restart for the final stage. Larson again clears for the front spot. Scary scene on lap 195 as Mason Maggio catches on fire in the 91. He gets taken out of the car. Glad he's okay. With Larson still up front, another yellow flies on lap 270 as Greg Galding is spun. Most pit, but Zilich and Corey Day stay out and restart up front. Another yellow on lap 283 sees Zilich and Larson restart with 10 to go. Who would be ready to take the sword Saturday night? Zilich, Larson, and Brent Cruz each have their chances. Connor Zilich is able to pull away and secures the O'Reilly Series win Saturday night in Bristol, baby. So much action and on-track content we had in Bristol this past weekend. Do have 2 episodes this week. We'll cover all the Cup Series action in part 2. Quick look back at the predictions we made for the trucks and O'Reilly. Trucks, I went with Corey Heim. He gets caught up in that wreck and is taken out. O'Reilly tapped Brett Cruz. He finishes 3rd, just behind 2 Cup drivers in Zilich and Larson. Yellow flag, green flag. Yellow flag trucks. That incident between Tyler Reif and Frankie Muniz. Thought that could have been avoided. Frankie was racing hard for his spot. He was a lap truck at that point. Maybe it's a little bit on the spotter of Reif to let him know where Muniz has been running. Some of the lap trucks were coming up to the upper groove to let the leaders then pass on the inside. Muniz was not doing that. He was holding on to the inside lane. Guys would have to drive around him. Nonetheless, those two get tangled. Green flag trucks. Give it to Dawson Sutton. He hits the wall in practice. Doesn't even qualify. They have to put some work on that truck. After the practice, before the race starts, he pulls that truck up to the P7 spot. Was not expecting that. O'Reilly, yellow flag. Yellow flag Austin Hill. He finishes P21. We've seen him win at Martinsville in the past. Thought Austin would have more speed at Bristol in the end. Green flag O'Reilly. What a show in the end between Zilich, Larson. Brent Cruz even tries to get in there. The way Kyle was driving early on in the race, I thought he was going to walk away with that one. Then Connor turned it up. Now for discussions with Dave, starting with my Bristol experience. As I said at the beginning of this episode, was my first time actually ever being in the state of Tennessee, in all honesty. Split the drive up, left late on Thursday, got there middle of the day Friday, got my campsite all set up, pinched my tent, was literally probably 200 yards just on the other side of the street from the track. Really neat waking up and seeing Bristol Motor Speedway. Also really cool seeing the lights of it all lit up at night as well. If you know me, I typically don't have a problem making friends at the track, and that was the same in Bristol. Met such great people out there. Shout out to the Earnhardt campsite. That place was awesome. If you're an avid camper, those shower facilities at Earnhardt Campground, 10 out of 10. Was very nice having a hot shower in the morning, to say the least. Shout out to Josh and all those good old boys that we were hanging out with for a couple nights out there. Also was hanging out with all of them before the Cup race Sunday. Such great people. Really appreciate all the company and the food I had with them. Getting to the track itself, I've walked on Daytona before and super high banked. They talk about how high banked Bristol is, and I was at Martinsville last year and I was expecting it to be, a little bit more than that. But man, when you're in those turns, looking up at the track, it really feels like it's practically at a 90-degree angle. But those guys haul the mail there. Just was a great experience in general. I know we'll get to all the Cup recap in episode 2 this week, but seeing Michael Jordan walk into the track with my own 2 eyes as a sports fan, man, that was pretty cool. Definitely want to get back to Bristol sometime soon. Was a great drive down Route 81. Was handing out a lot of stickers and business cards. So appreciate to everyone that I met out in Bristol that's given this episode a listen. Thank you. Now thoughts on the Truck Series race. Going into this one, last 2 winners of the Truck Series, as we know, Corey Heim, last year's champ. As we also know, Heim is not full-time in the Truck Series this year, meaning he will not be eligible to run for the championship. But with winning the last 2 races, Corey is in the dash for cash, meaning if he wins in Bristol, he would have won another $300,000, bringing that total to a whopping $500,000. In qualifying, we see Caden Honeycutt, who is running the 11. That's the same Tricon truck that Corey Heim had been running the last several years, winning his championship in last year. So no surprise that Honeycutt wins the pole. Chase Briscoe, another Cup driver that was back in the Truck Series for this one. He is top of the practice boards during their session. But once this race got going, Christian Eckes really took control of it early. He was strong, and the first time through lap traffic, Lane Riggs did get close to him, but Eckes was able to pull away. In the end, Eckes does tangle with Heim, and that move, some people were saying at first that was intentional. I mean, if you watch it, even in slow motion, I mean, that's racing right there. I mean, it just was a small tap by Eckes, unfortunately, just in the wrong spot. And Heim, right after being interviewed in the Infield Care Center, said, "I've been racing Christian for years. That was not intentional." And kudos to Heim. He really was calm and collected And yes, this isn't his first go-around doing a media debrief after a tough crash, taking him out of the race. And he totally could have been in contention and went on to win the race, but that didn't happen. It was good to have his insight with that interview, though. He handled that very professionally. Then in the end, Christopher Bell in the 62 Lavar Friesen. Always really cool to see those guys in victory lane. Was talking to Stewart Friesen earlier in this episode in the pits. That group just works so hard and is a smaller team. Great for them to be in victory lane Friday night. Thoughts on the O'Reilly race? As we mentioned, Kyle Larson just so dominant at the start of that one, and just like the trucks with Eckes, but Larson was one stage 1, one stage 2. He was really pulling away, and just the way he would rack up such a lead to the car in second. I mean, it was practically Larson had a full 2 turns over the guy in second at points. In the end, solid strategy call by Rodney Childress with Connor Zilic in the 1. And that really, Zilic's car, per Larson, did have more life to it at the end. With the old crew chief Childress, maybe he has Zilic save a little bit more on that car, knowing that Larson is just going to dominate and probably knowing what setup Larson has too. I mean, they're both Junior Motorsports cars, right? In the end, with how the race started, I didn't think it was going to get that exciting at the end, but man, I was wrong. We were all standing up in the stands there, and it just was a great race. And it really got you pumped up for the Cup Series race on Sunday. Last topic on Discussions with Dave, Part 1, on Episode 1. Mentioned in between my garage chats, saw Nick Sanchez speaking with Front Row Motorsports execs in the truck pits on Friday night. Nick Sanchez, AM Racing, they pulled out their entry in Rockingham, was not expecting that. Nick Sanchez and AM Racing were not entered in Bristol as well. But Nick Sanchez was there. He was in the pits talking to the guys at Front Row. What does this mean? Was just a long business conversation or a long conversation trying to give Sanchez some advice? Typically, when you see teams talking like that for extended periods of time in the pits, saw Roger Carruth talking with Jordan Anderson Racing last year in Pocono, and between Junior Motorsports and Jordan Anderson, Raja is full-time this year. So was this conversation just some advice, or are we going to see Nick with Front Row in the future? I sure think so. Now for Paint Scheme of the Week, Part 1. This paint scheme was at Bristol, and it was an awesome one. Number 1, Ross Chastain Busch Light paint scheme. An awesome largemouth bass jumping on the side of the car with the Busch Mountains in the background. Super great scheme, especially out there in Tennessee. Now, NASCAR history time. Bristol Dirt. March 29th, 2021. Bristol Motor Speedway underwent a dramatic transformation as dirt was laid over the concrete surface for a unique spring race weekend. For both the Truck Series and Cup Series would tackle the half mile on the dirt layout. This marked for the Cup Series the first dirt race since 1970. True throwback. When the dust settled, Joey Logano powered his number 2 Penske Ford to victory lane, mastering the challenging conditions to secure the historic win. It's been a couple years since there was last dirt at Bristol. Think it's great that they have 2 races on the concrete, but heck, when they were racing out on the dirt, as a fan, that was exciting. And I've said this in past seasons, still kudos to NASCAR for trying that. I know with so many laps they would have to run for the Cup Series race, kind of the inside groove would really get rubbered up, and some of the racing wasn't too exciting there. But that one year where Kyle Busch won and Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick wreck each other out on the final lap, that was awesome. Wanted to touch upon that. Some people forget that we were just dirt racing in Bristol a couple years ago. Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 2. We've been talking about him a lot last couple of weeks. Cletus McFarland makes his O'Reilly Series debut 2 weekends ago in Rockingham. He didn't have the smoothest day. Had a good performance in the ARCA car. Still going to give him credit for that one. But heck, it was his first O'Reilly debut. Believe he qualifies 35th, and in the end he finishes 34th. Spins out 4 times. Luckily, did not take out anyone else. And we saw him wreck early in the Daytona truck race and somehow didn't take anyone else out, but spins off of turn 4, ending his day. I believe it was on lap 9 in that one. But Cletus was supposed to race in Talladega. He is not cleared. NASCAR says, hey, what you gave us in Rockingham was great. You ran all those laps, but we're not going to give you the green light for Dega. And credit to NASCAR. If you watched him in Rockingham, I mean, just even as a casual fan, I mean, knowing that this guy was going to go to Talladega in a couple weeks, that probably wasn't the best decision. Cletus, and he admits to it, he needs more time in the O'Reilly seat. We've talked to drivers. How do you get better at this sport? Seat time, seat time, seat time. Cletus will still run the ARCA race at Talladega, so we'll still get plenty of Cletus, Dega action. And Cletus is eventually going to run super speedway races. He just needs to get, more races underneath his belt and get more comfortable in those aero situations, which we've heard these up-and-coming drivers, these young guys, talk about, which is such an important part of the sport on these bigger drafting tracks. Say what you want to say about Cletus and, the whole rise through motorsports and being a YouTuber. I understand, specifically comparing him to Ricky Bobby, the fictional NASCAR character from Talladega Nights, which Cletus kind of embodies himself, and people like that. That's entertaining. Cletus by no means has any of the wins at the cup level or success in racing that Ricky Bobby did. But heck, that guy goes around there. He really is like the modern day Ricky Bobby. He owns that Freedom Factory in Bradenton, Florida. They just had their Crown Vic Freedom 500. A lot of big names out there. Kenny Wallace, Bobby Dale Earnhardt, Wyatt, the Thriller Miller, grandsons of Dale Earnhardt. That's Kelly's son. He was the youngest kid in that race. Kudos to him. Ken Block's daughter, Leah Block, was racing. Travis Pastrana, of course, Squirrel McNutt and Cletus McFarland. And they get a huge crowd. And people watch it from all over the place. And I'll be honest, I did buy a number 33 McFarland hat when I was in Bristol. NASCAR does make the right call by not clearing him for Talladega. But when will we see him in a super speedway in the O'Reilly car? Is that in August in Daytona? Is that in October in Talladega? Is that this year or is it next? Can't wait to find out. Moving right along, some news on the Truck Series side. We've been talking about Daniel Dye leaving Colleague Racing. Has been announced that Corey LaJoie will take over that seat. Colleague Racing has applied for a waiver for Corey LaJoie to be eligible for the playoffs. Really expected Colleague to do that. Believe NASCAR should grant LaJoie the waiver, barring the situation and the unfortunate circumstances with why Daniel Dye is stepping down. As Daniel said, he is learning from, his mistakes with his comments towards David Malukas. Say what you want to say about Corey LaJoie. I think it's a great opportunity for him at Ram in the Truck Series. He does have a good amount of a hole right now with the points that he's inheriting from Daniel Dye already, just 8 races in. There's only 10 races left in the regular season for the Truck Series. Can LaJoie get that Ram into the playoffs? It's going to be an uphill battle. I think the odds are probably pointed against him, but Can Corey turn it up? We'll see. More news, Kaulig Ram Truck Series has announced their driver to pilot the 25 in Texas, and it's no other than Parker Kligerman. Can Parker get Kaulig and Ram over the hump and contend for a win in one of these things? We'll find out. Discussions with Dave, still on the same topic with Daniel Dye. He did step down from Kaulig Racing, as we were just going over again. We know where he will be racing next, or at least in Kansas. Was announced that Dye will be competing in the ARCA Series race in Kansas, driving the number 24 entry from Sigma Performance. And at first, Chris Rice, CEO of Kaulig Racing, came out and said, Dye is family, yada, yada, yada. We back him. Then Dye resigns. So, two things happened here. Either was Chris Rice and Matt Kaulig said, hey, this guy's damaged goods right now. Let's bring in a veteran in LaJoy. Totally, that's a business decision. That could have happened. Or, Kaulig did struggle in the Xfinity Series last year, O'Reilly Series, with Dye and Christian Eckes as their two full-time drivers. Dye already several races into racing with Kaulig and the Rams, and they are not smooth sailing, to say the least. It's an uphill battle, and of course, it's a manufacturer getting back in the sport and Kaulig racing their trucks for the first time. There's going to be a learning curve. We knew that was going to happen. Daniel, which we've seen win races in the Truck Series before, maybe it was like, this isn't going to be the best fit. If I have an opportunity to leave, I might as well take it. So, we don't know what truly happened, and we're probably not going to know any of the specifics, right? But after more of the information and stuff has unraveled since then, there's really one or two options, in my opinion. As I mentioned, 2 episodes this week. We're only doing one trivia question. So the trivia question for this week: who won the first Cup Series dirt race at Bristol in 2021? Hint, we might have talked about it in this episode. Answer in part 2. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at disneydavw@verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. As I mentioned, so much content from Bristol on the socials. Please check that out. Still much more content to come on Bristol episode part 2. Please check that out. Splash of Gas out.